We finally about to do this.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now. First of all, before we get started, that music smacks. You know what they say nowadays? Man, like I'm sitting there listening to it, I'm like, yo. Usually, most of the time when we record, it's always a thing where we record, we put the pieces together, and then we watch the show. But
Right.
see, now you actually like get to listen to the music before you get the show.
I'm amped. That gets me hyped. I was like, okay. It's like, okay, here we go.
It does. Shout out to you for producing that one a while ago. I'm glad we finally get to use it.
I know, right? It's been a while.
Well, 10th anniversary. We are here, Wrestling Wrealm Now. And for those who do not know, I'm gonna make it easy for you. Oh, I actually hit the wrong button.
Oh.
Yeah, right there on your left, you have Brian H. Waters. On your right, you have the Real Dwayne Allen. Together, you have the Wrestling Wrealm. I always wanted to do that.
I mean, yeah, you can do it now. Like, you can say whatever you want. Like, there's no rush. So usually when we record Wrestling Wrealm stuff, we're on a time. We're on a schedule. You got to get things done in a timely manner. But now it's open space. We can do it, say whatever we want.
Oh boy, I don't know if they wanted to do that, but
listen, everybody gonna keep asking what I'm doing. Okay, well, you're gonna find out. I'm here. Like it's
yeah, because you got some explaining to do. You got some explaining to do as we introduce the people to this new show called the Wrestling Wrealm Now. And they may say, oh, we get Brian H all the time, but finally I kept promising. And guess what? Finally, I'm not made out to be a liar because the promise is being delivered. The goods are coming as we bring to you Wrestling Wrealm Now, where you'll get me, myself, Brian H. Waters, and the Real Dwayne Allen, not once, not twice, but each and every week. Yes, folks. Back like we started before 10 years ago, you're getting new content from both of us. Realness, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's good to be in the mix, man. It feels good to be able to get back to being consistent and be able to expand on what we started 10 years ago. So now this is just another evolution to the brand and another aspect to what we already do, man. So I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to finally jump in it, on a regular basis. So this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, man. So, obviously it's the first show. So, let's just catch the people up. We've been doing a lot. Obviously. 10 years, you want to kind of give them a preview? What's the coming? Or before we do that, you want to let them know where you've been and then give them a preview?
Yeah, here's the thing. I'll answer every question about me at a later date. But it also goes into what I'm about to announce next. That because we are in a 10th anniversary since our first show. And the inception of the Wrestling Wrealm, and we're doing a lot of expanding, we're doing a lot of brand building, we're doing a lot of things that we haven't had the opportunity to do before that now we're in a position to do so. And one of those things is expanding our content, doing things that working on projects that we wanted to work on before that involve the brand, including different documentaries, different types of smaller pieces about ourselves so that people can kind of get to know who we are, where we come from, and why we do what we do, and just our perspective on being a wrestling fan and all those great things. But we have a lot. We have a lot to do. We have a lot coming up with. It's been a long time coming, but we're here now, and now we can finally jump into this thing the way we wanted to almost 10 years ago. But now it's easy, it's accessible, it's feasible, it's something that we can do, man. I'm ready. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And come join us. And you should just trust me. You're gonna want to hear what we have to say. I can guarantee you that.
I'm really excited.
We know. Trust me.
We got new tools.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
We also need like crowd noise, like just like.
Yeah, but the thing is, one thing I want people to understand is you still will get the other show, the flagship, as the realness calls it, right?
Mhm.
That's the show where, what draws people here, when we pick a subject, and we talk about it. We say, okay, look, here are 5 things we liked about this, or 10
Yeah.
things, or even, like we did a gang warfare show years ago, and we're gonna redo that one because things have changed in professional wrestling. So we want to kind of regurgitate that conversation. So you're still gonna get that show. I'll give a spoiler alert. Y'all know we did a AEW competition, or competitive copy or competition show. Well, we're gonna have a follow-up episode on that at a later date. So I'm really excited about that. And that's what they can expect. Anything else you want to add on that?
I mean, I think you should tell people why we're doing it this way. Like, why do you think after all this time, why have we decided to go this avenue versus other avenues that we could have possibly done before? But I think the
I
fans
got
need to
tired of
know.
talking to myself.
Okay, good enough reason.
I was like, okay, man, I want company, and no,
You sound like a little kid talking about you want company.
I was gonna be patient. I wasn't gonna bring anybody else. There's obviously no disrespect. Obviously, I love having guests on, but on a weekly basis, it's the Wrestling Realm created by Brian and H. Waters, the real Dwayne Allen. Hey, we tried some things before. Maybe that'll come up at a later date, but we realized this way works. And so that was the thing, obviously, the question is, yeah, we will be looking to collaborate with other podcasters in the game as we've done so. Shout out to Big Gold Belt, who's already extended the invite. Shout out to Ashley Baker of About Nothing But Sports. So, we still gonna be collaborating like we always do.
Yes, we're taking bookings now.
We're taking bookings. Shout out to the Flex Zone, who every year Wrestlemania, we was on that call for what it was. When I was gone away to ESPN, shout out to our brother. I'm going to specifically single him out in this case, Andre Melton, because like, hey, can I get the Wrelm on? And I remember when I moved back, like that was like one of the first things I did was going to the studios of the Flex Zone. So we'll definitely be doing some stuff like that. So that's one thing y'all can look out for. But we realize this way is easier. Every week, goodness sake, don't trust. Look, Dwayne is my daughter's godfather and my son's godfather, so we talk every day. It's just now
the conversation definitely goes on
to keep the conversation and make it public again.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, that's definitely a big shout out. I know you mentioned the Flex Zone. The Flex Zone is always going to be near and dear, especially to us as a brand, as far as the Wrestling Wrealm, myself and Brian H. Because when we were trying to figure out what we were going to do next, they were a huge, huge part in keeping the brand alive. I mean, it got to a point at, you remember, we were on the Flex Zone almost every month. Even when you were away, when you went to Connecticut, when you came back in town, if you had time to drop in, you dropped in, or I would pop in, or you would call in, man. And Dre is always, I think Dre and the Flex Zone have been always a crucial part. So like, we can't thank you, enough, Dre and D and Byron and Cavante and Roger, for all of those brothers did for us, as far as from a branding standpoint, because like at one point that was the only content that we were putting out. It was on their show. We were joining them for all their wrestling panels and their various sports shows. So I mean,
and I want to give a shout out to Mikel Ramos and
Mikel was a huge part of that at the time. She was the host.
Other people who even with the Rolling with Ramos show, even though she kind of like expanded, did her own thing, she was still calling the Wrestling Realm, say, hey, I wanted you guys to come on and give a little discussion about wrestling and even other sports. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and as much as she denies it, she knows she's a wrestling fan.
Yep.
so Mikel, if you're watching this, I know it's okay. It's okay.
And before we close this segment out, we obviously going to definitely give a huge shout out to this guy, the one and only Dr. D. Daryl Johnson, who always, you talk about keeping the
day
wrestling
one
alive.
Day one.
I've been at wrestling shows, and each time I'm near this brother, he said, hey, come here, let me introduce you guys to Mr. Main Event. It's my man B-Dub, going back. So that goes to show you how old school he is, as well as making sure he BlurCon, not once but twice, inviting us there. So obviously a huge shout out to him, and also a huge shout out to the one and only, the guy we talk to every day, even though We haven't created content with him just yet as a whole, but he's been on here, the one and only, the Shark Williams.
Oh
Sean,
yeah, absolutely. Sean Williams, absolutely.
there's a lot of people. I mean, Carlos Banks.
Yeah.
I should say Carlos, even Antonio Banks. I don't want to say them all at once.
Nino.
Many people. Oh, definitely Nino, who's been there from day one. And if anybody that
Corey.
I missed, huh?
Corey.
Yeah, definitely.
Glenn.
Corey, Glenn, and, Champ Creed, everybody. If I miss them, charge it to the head, not the heart. But we definitely appreciate it. So, I'm excited to get this going. Obviously, break it down with Brian H. That's not going anywhere. I'm still gonna be doing that. The real Dwayne Allen, he's still gonna be giving you his realness reacts, but you'll get both of us just as you all.
We didn't. What do you mean you get? We never even announced it. What do you mean? That was supposed to be an announcement. Like that's the whole point of this whole situation. So this is what happens when you got to do a regular show.
What are you talking about?
We were supposed to announce that. You just said, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get that." Like
you're still doing it. You got it's Instagram posts.
No, I don't.
Realness reacts. So did you forget? When AEW first announced, you first dropped the realness reacts when.
Never mind.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
I botched it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was like, wait a minute. I thought that was supposed to be an announcement. Is that a thing?
But yeah. So like you said, we definitely taking bookings. So. Oh man. But I want to ask you this as we get ready to get into this show. What have you been watching this week? A lot of stuff been going on in pro wrestling. What have you been watching this week?
Okay, this week, let me see it. So I watched Raw. Well, I watched Raw, SmackDown, whatever it was.
I watched SmackDown. No, okay. All right. Let me make it
be specific.
Been anything that has caught your eye out of the ordinary that made you like, wow, this is why I'm a wrestling fan, whether something old school or new school. Did you go back and watch something and give it a different look?
Yeah, I watched that dismal AEW pay-per-view. Like, what was that? What else did I watch? I watched Christian Cage show up. I was not happy about that either. What else did I see? Daniel Bryan's attitude this week, or maybe not this week, just in general, caught my attention. The cage match he had with Jey Uso.
Okay.
Unbelievable. Daniel Bryan is just that good. I watched NXT, Adam Cole versus Finn Balor. The main event really caught my attention. The finish as well. What else did I watch? I watched quite a few things. I watched.
That should be the theme of this show.
You said what?
When Finn Balor said, "What took you so long?" I said that should be a theme of the show.
Yeah,
you so long to get here.
You can get all your shots in all you want, but you can't get rid of me. Now, I have a lot to say. So when I get to talking crazy, don't look at me. Look, I done messed up my studio spot. This is new to me, so I got to figure this out. It's like it's really not new, but yeah. So that's
the first time, like Ludacris' first album.
Sure, we're dropping Ludacris references already. All right, sure, that works. So yeah, that's what I watched this week. That caught my attention the most. Adam Cole, Finn Balor. Yeah, that really caught my attention.
We will get into this later, but because I just thought about this question, and I'm gonna ask you now so that I know we'll get into it later when I go back and watch this and I'll write it down.
Okay.
How do you feel? Because we haven't really never talked about this. You seeing guys like your Adam Cole's, your Finn Balor's, people who you watched heavy, Kyle O'Reilly, when you at the Ring of Honor heyday, because we always, 2015 was a turning point year for you.
Yeah.
Where you turned away from the E and you started paying attention more to the indies. How do you feel about seeing a lot of these guys in the WWE now?
I feel two ways about it, honestly. On one hand, I'm happy to see these guys get their fair shake, not necessarily or only in general as superstars, but I get to see them every week. That's the best part about when guys, this is, kind of my gripe, when guys join WWE versus when they leave. A lot of times guys leave companies and you don't see them anymore. It happened with AJ Styles when he first left TNA. At the time, you had to find his matches on YouTube because he was hitting the indies. I remember the first match I saw was him at, I don't know what show it was, but it was him versus Cedric Alexander. And that was the first post TNA match that anybody saw of AJ Styles before he started to show up in New Japan. And then before New Japan had the partnership with Ring of Honor. Then I was like, thank God we get to see AJ on television whenever they gave it to us. So I'm glad to see those guys on television each week, guys that I got to see up close and personal. But at the same time, though, you're also seeing a lot of these guys kind of fall through the cracks. You're not seeing as much. I'm grateful to see them because I'm seeing them more than I would if they were on independents, because independents can only produce with so much television, whether they produce their stuff on YouTube, whether they have television deals, it's or DVD releases or whatever the case it is. But I'm happy to see these guys kind of get a fair shake, and I'm happy to see them every week. But at the same time, I don't get to see them every week. If they're not in the creative aspect of the show or whatever it is they're trying to do as far as programming is concerned, I may not get a chance to really see them do what they do best. So I feel two ways about it, but I think the WWE gives me the best opportunity to see a lot of my favorites on a regular basis, which is why you're always happy to see those guys achieve their dreams. But then a lot of those dreams are nightmares. A lot of those guys that their opportunities don't turn into what they believe it is, and they end up leaving. Now, some bet on themselves and are successful, but then some bet on themselves and they still fail. So now what? Now you have nothing. But I could name a few, but I'm sure we'll save that conversation for another day.
Yeah. I just had to ask you. Like I said, it's also me kind of taking notes. So okay, show to do later.
Okay. You want to milk this, aren't you? Because you're the wheels are turning already.
Hey man,
I feel like I got duped to this in the first place. Like I didn't.
I tend to do things like that, don't I?
Oh yeah,
So this week I actually been going back. It's WrestleMania season, and
this is just, first of all, if you don't know Brian H. Waters, I'm gonna tell you, I'm putting all your business in the streets now because we got our own podcast, so we can. Brian does this every year. When it comes WrestleMania season, that brother gets into WrestleMania season mode. I mean, he starts going back watching old WrestleManias, old matches. Like he is like on fire. Like it's a designated period in his timeline that okay, WrestleMania's coming up. Time we start rewatching all my favorites, and then he starts breaking it down, and then we always start sitting on the phone or whatever, talking for 6 hours about old WrestleMania matches. So let me just put it out there right now. So for those that do not know Brian H. Waters, it's WrestleMania season. He's going to consume a lot of wrestling.
And then for y'all watching, drop in the comments your favorite WrestleManias and your favorite WrestleMania.
Not WrestleMania 9, Brian H.
So you just had to go there. WrestleMania
9. You pull me here, I'm going to say what I want.
And guess what? I will still be. I know that Yokozuna DVD just special just came out. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. Excellent.
I will still be on the hill by myself. Said WWE made the right move because you look at the crowd, they was cheering Hogan. But
remember the Yokozuna tribute show we went to in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
That was dope.
Yeah, it definitely was, man.
That's just a side note.
And shout out to Alpha Jr., getting a chance to like really sit there and talk to him. What was cool about it? At the end of the show, they had like hot dogs laying around. I was like, can I get one? He's like, yeah, sure, I'm getting some. Yeah, you go ahead and get what you want. And I was like, man, and at the time, still new in the game, you kind of like, yo, this dude was just in WWE.
He was fresh off. Yeah, he was fresh off his WWE. He was just sitting there like we were trying to stay out the way respectfully. Because when you get invited to wrestlers, companies, and backstage situations, we were like, look, man, we're happy to be here. We want to be respectful because you don't always know the ins and outs of everybody's locker room. So we sat down like just trying to stay out the way. He came down and sat with us and just jumped in the conversation. I was like, oh, now I feel bad that they cut him.
Yeah,
it's like, oh man, this is a good dude.
Yeah, shout out to him, Rikishi, Sabu. That was a big moment. Getting
Absolutely.
a chance. WrestleMania 9, the head shrinkers were there and being able to sit there and talk to both of them together, their first tag match in years. That's when we first got a chance to see babyface Lance on the Wire. Congratulations to him. I believe he just had another baby.
Congratulations, Lance.
The birthday, one or the other, forgive me. But Tuco Scorpio.
Yeah, he was cool. Yeah.
Getting a chance to listen to him, a legend indeed. Shout out to my man Trey from We Love Wrestling. He just did an in-depth interview with him, so that's a good interview. Check it out. Trey been on Wrestling for the Culture, so it was a great night.
Come on, you missing one. Don't do that.
Get ready to go there because you impressed him, and as one of your favorites of all time, the Road Dogg Jesse James.
The old double.
Yeah, and I mean you. This is where I learned that you were a journalist, even though you run from it. Because you asked a very respectful question in a respectful manner, and I could tell by the way he appreciated it.
Yeah, I mean the Road Dogg, at that time, you got to remember during that time, he was not fresh out of rehab. He was celebrating an anniversary of being clean for so long. I don't know how long he had been clean at the time, but he really was like, this is where Road Dogg had really turned the corner. Like he was life changing. He had accepted Christ in his life, he was in a whole different place, and he was celebrating. He was so happy, and he had just started the "Oh You Didn't Know" podcast, him and Billy Gunn, before they got separated again. Before really Road Dogg this was right before he gets re-signed by WWE, and it's not too long after he, but him and Billy Gunn were doing that podcast, and he was really jumping out there again, man. He just had such a completely different outlook on life, and I was so happy for him because how many times have we seen our favorite superstars fall by the wayside due to their demons? So to see one of my favorite, and to be able to sit down and talk with him, I was like, look, man, wrestling is wrestling. That's all fun and games, but sometimes life is always more important than this or this business and stuff like that. So I that moment for me is like, it's up there. That's like top 5 moments for me. I was like, yo, that
about it.
Yeah, meeting Road Dogg and having that conversation. It wasn't about nothing New Age Outlaws. It wasn't nothing about. It was like, man, I'm happy to celebrate with you and your sobriety after how many years that you felt like you were, down and out, going through such a struggle, because it's a very real struggle that a lot of people can relate to. So, that's, as you can tell, like, it's up there.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I'm just glad I distracted you from talking about WrestleMania 9.
But yeah, anyway, back to the point.
Okay.
What I've been watching this week is WrestleMania 15. I was working, so I had.
It's a good one. Yeah,
it was one of my favorites at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, to me, I could still go back and watch it. I know it. We really look at it. It was at kind of the peak of the Attitude Era, right?
I think so. Yeah.
If you say the Attitude Era beginning 97, this is 99, so it's dead square in the middle. I think WrestleMania 17 was the closing of the book on the Attitude Era, and then there's a break. I don't know what you call that era in between that and the Ruthless Aggression Era. When they bought WCW, maybe some people still
consider the Attitude Era.
Okay, but WrestleMania 15, main event with The Rock and Stone Cold. Just the whole night, that was Big Show's WrestleMania debut, and we all know he's now in AEW. But he was coming in as Paul White. I don't even think he was the Big Show yet. He was just Paul White. And even seeing
the irony,
the double turn. You had Triple H. It would look like we got a DX reunion. You were speaking about DX.
You get double turns. The irony again, because the Big Show. Get it? Paul White double turns. It's another one.
Yeah, but we thought we was getting a DX reunion, and they sitting there pumping up X-Pac, because X-Pac is going to go regain his European Championship that he had just lost at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, only for Triple H to turn on him, and he would begin a long string of being one of the most hated people in the WWE. Triple H was going to be a heel for the next 3 years.
I hated Triple H, by the way.
Me too. Absolutely.
So the brother did his job.
At that time,
well,
he did he. And remember, leading up to that, before he joined the corporation, Shawn Michaels and The Rock was teasing him, said he's only hanging around main eventers. He's never been one and all that. And then DX would get back together at the end of the year. It was like, wait, that really did happen.
Which I was okay with, by the way.
Yeah. 99 is definitely like one of my favorite years in wrestling. It did get like around football season. It kind of took a little dive. That's when Austin was facing, and he would go out because of neck surgery, but he was kind of facing Triple H. And then I'm just upset we never got the dream match, Austin, Rock, and Triple H. You know what I mean?
Austin, Rock, Triple H. Oh yeah, heck yeah. What's
supposed to be a Survivor Series? They got it in England, but it's not the same. It was supposed to be a Survivor Series, but we all know Stone Cold got ran over by Rikishi, kayfabe, but that would leave, so he had to leave because of his neck injury. And to me, like, those were the guys of the Attitude Era, right? For me, my guys of the Attitude, the trio was, those three. And then if I go to the Golden Era, the era I grew up on,
right?
If you call it Golden Era, it would be Hogan, Warrior, Savage, right?
Okay.
I never really gave one.
Hogan, Warrior, Savage. Got you. Okay.
Yeah, never gave one to the new generation. To me, it was just Brett and Shawn, and everybody else.
Wait. Time out. So it was nobody else, just Brett, Shawn, new generation?
As far as like the way I look at, for my, like, there was other people there, but as far as like,
dude, Undertaker?
Undertaker, how many times did he have the title during the new generation? He was a big star, a special attraction, main eventer.
So we're just talking about title holders.
I'm talking like title holders for me, guys who are box office. I never looked at the Undertaker box office.
What? I came back for this.
Yeah, you did. I didn't look at Undertaker's box office back then. He was a special attraction.
Look, listen, I get what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't want you to think I'm disagreeing with you because I think partially where I am now, recognizing him, like, oh no, Taker was a big deal, but
big deal, absolutely.
You know, I think that third spot to me was always interchangeable because 1 week was Undertaker, next week it was Vader,
Bingo.
Another week it was Sid, and the 1 week it was Diesel.
That's the point.
Kind of this revolving wheel of main event. So I get it.
Psycho Sean out of it.
Yeah. Psycho Sid.
To me, you would never take them out of it. You like you said, the third spot is interchangeable, right?
Yeah.
And even in that golden era, Hogan, Warrior, Savage, right? Would you take any of them out of it as far as who's going to draw the money, who's going to bring in the toys? You know, you're not taking none of those three out of it. Like on video games, those three had to be in there, right?
There was always a revolving four during the era, like DiBiase or Brutus Beefcake, or like, you know.
I mean, those are like top mid-carders, you know.
Okay, sure. I get it. Like it's
none of the big four pay-per-views. You know, you're not headlining SummerSlam with Brutus Beefcake or Ted DiBiase. DiBiase was a great antagonist, a great heel, but like to me, and I know like obviously this is you know, objective, subjective, whatever way it goes in this place. But that's all.
It can go however the heck you want it to go. It don't matter if it's a word or not. You say it.
But you know, before we go into bone to pick, I want to remind the people real quick that they can support this show. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/Wrestling Wrealm. If you want to support the show, as you see, we are back. You know, you want to give us an anniversary gift for 10 years, you can do that. Give us $10, you know, but no, you can do as low as $5. So, you got any bones to pick this week?
Oh yeah, I got a huge bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
It's not a huge bone, but I do got a bone to pick. If anybody didn't know, this is a new weekly segment that I'm going to do where if something that I'm not really feeling or something Brian says that I'm not really digging, got a bone to pick. I do have a bone to pick with you. You did
some bones to pick with you too, buddy.
I'm sure you do. You probably have 10 years worth of bones to pick with me.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just going to keep you right where you're at right now.
Oh, that's classic. It never gets old. I remember I'm sitting in my space and I'm catching up on some good old. No, not my space, but literally like my personal space. Not my space, but my personal space. And I'm catching up on flipping through my channels, and I'm catching up on my Wrestling Wrealm content, listening to Break It Down, Brian H. Waters, and he's just keeping it 100. And you criticize a partnership between Impact Wrestling and AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have not revealed yet my feelings on AEW because it has been previously recorded, yet to be released.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, but you will. It's coming. It's my Eddie Murphy face. I look like Eddie Murphy when I do this. No, okay. You criticize Impact's partnership with AEW, and the whole premise was it wasn't a negative tone, but I remember you saying you don't understand the nature of the partnership because it seems like one's going to benefit while the other one isn't.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about and for those that don't know, as of the time of recording this particular podcast, AEW has a match coming up where they're finally going to acknowledge Moose claiming to be the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, which is a defunct title because TNA Wrestling no longer exists. It is known as Impact Wrestling under new management and leadership and ownership, versus the actual Impact Wrestling World Champion, Rich Swann. Now you have these two brothers. You know,
you said AEW.
Did I say AEW?
Mm-hmm.
What did I say?
Well, you meant Impact Wrestling is going to acknowledge this.
Did I say? Okay, well, who gives a crap? Impact Wrestling is a finally acknowledged Moose as a TNA, just for kicks and giggles. Scott D'Amore, and he says, okay, we're going to have a title unification match once and for all. One of you is going to be the undisputed Impact World Champion, I suppose, because technically which one isn't a heavyweight? So do we consider ourselves a heavyweight championship? Who knows? Who cares? It's neither here nor there, right? So you went on to say, hey, you know, there's no way in the world you're going to convince me that either one of these guys are really going to even challenge Kenny Omega, because the match at AEW Rebellion is supposed to be a title versus title matchup. It's not just a champion versus champion; it's title versus title, which means somebody's going to walk away with both world titles: the Impact Wrestling World Title and the AEW World Title.
Which, by the way, you might as well reveal it now. I mean, it's already been posted. Rich Swann won.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
said, well, he was trying
News
to put
news to me.
together, and you probably didn't hear me.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
That's what happens when you're doing pre-production, folks. Or actually, this was even like pre-production, like setup.
Yeah, clearly, because I didn't.
Yeah,
Okay, so Rich wants. Nevertheless, that was the conversation that was had. Now that we know Rich wants one, Rich Swann had won the match. Okay. Now we have a situation where we say, okay, do you really believe that Rich Swann is really going to have a shot against Kenny Omega? So we all, as older wrestling fans, and we can have this conversation in regards to Impact and AEW because they always talk about going after an older audience. So that's our age, that's our generation. Where you're not when you're marketing to kids, you don't have to make it make sense because they're children. It's just give them something that they can kind of entertain. They have the imagination and they can take it lightly, which is what the WWE often likes to do. But this TV 14 audience on up, we've seen everything, and you're not going to insult our intelligence. So Brian H. Waters decides to say, hey, well, do I really think that Kenny Omega is going to he's clearly going to walk away with both titles. There's no way in the world he doesn't walk away with both titles, and Impact is diminished because of it, because now they have no, what does it say about their world championship? What does it say about their company? How are they benefiting from somebody else is under contract to another company, even if it's a working relationship or not? Now he's the world champion. Here's my bone to pick with you. I wanted to answer that question for you more than anything.
Maybe if you would have answered the call.
Was my phone on?
No,
I don't
maybe
know.
I got up. I was like, I'm gonna record this.
Yeah, because I saw you. I looked at it. Oh wow, I wanted to hear what you had to say about it. You seem frustrated.
From now, I can do that.
Oh yeah. So I said to myself, I wish I was there to answer your question, which is why we have this platform now. But I was like, you know what? I think I said to you before, I said, I think you're looking at the situation wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think we hear the term partnership, we assuming that it's some sort of even 50-50 situation. And I remember one of the things you said to me in particular on your show, you said, I don't believe that it's AEW's responsibility to pick up Impact Wrestling, but I disagree. I think that it is because AEW has the bigger platform. They have more exposure. And I think the way Impact is looking at the partnership is that it's a team game. Everybody has to play their role. It's not an equal 50-50 partnership. To me, Ring of Honor and New Japan had a 50-50 partnership because there was a talent exchange. When New Japan had new guys that they want to send on excursion, they could send on Ring of Honor before they get their gimmicks and come back. Jay White was one of them. Watanabe, now known as Evil New Japan, was one of them. There was multiple, exchanges of different things that kind of kept the partnership in the respect of what we consider a partnership. Mm-hmm. But I think Impact is at a place now where they're getting more eyes to their product now, because I think Kenny Omega is about to enter a different stratosphere in the history of professional wrestling, because these two companies are willing to go somewhere that we have not seen, maybe not in a long time, if ever. There's a good chance that Kenny Omega can walk out with another first in professional wrestling. One thing that he talks about, if you listen to Kenny Omega, hear his story, he has this idea of doing all these first, doing things different. And to be honest with you, he's doing a lot of firsts. He's really carving his place in the world of professional wrestling on his own. Because this man could literally walk away with the AEW World Champion. He could be both. He can represent both companies. That's something we have not seen. I don't know if ever. We've seen it on one show before. We've seen it undisputed champion within the brand. We've seen a WCW World Champion and a WWF, but it was all underneath the WWF umbrella ownership. Man, we're talking about two completely different wrestling companies with one champion. And we're not talking about local or national. We're talking about two national promotions with one champion. I think that's a big deal. I think it's a first. There could always be a swerve. It could always be something. Somebody could get involved. Somebody could, interfere with the match. I'm assuming Christian may have something to do with it, whatever the case may be. But I think Impact will benefit more from Kenny Omega being their world champion than anybody else, because, like I said, Rich Swann is their world champion, and I could care less. There's nothing about Rich Swann that makes me go, oh, I got to see him. I appreciate the brother getting an opportunity and doing something that he hasn't been able to do before. I mean, that should be celebrated by all means, but let's be realistic. As a fan of my age and what I've seen, I'm not impressed. And that's just because I don't find him, in my mind, I've been trained to believe what a world champion is, and I've had to be reprogrammed and reconditioned. But I've seen smaller guys be world champions, and I've seen it work. In this situation, I wasn't buying it. It's not my fault. It's just not my cup of tea. So I think, imagine you walking out and Kenny Omega is literally on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, or whenever the heck Impact comes on, and whenever the heck AEW Dynamite comes on. And it's the same guy. Not like, oh, we just hanging out because I got some buddies over here and we kind of jump ship from show to show. He's literally representing this company and that company. He's probably the biggest world champion right now. He's the biggest star in the world right now, outside of Roman Reigns. if you look at any space outside of WWE right now, like New Japan is they're unifying a lot of their titles. They're unifying the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship and the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. And Kota Ibushi is the champion as they try to build a new star, build him as a main event player. He's always kind of been on the cusp, but now he's kind of there, and they're going with him now. So if you look at who's the top dogs as far as professional wrestling, who do you consider the real world's champion? As we've had conversations about in the past, you're going to look at Roman, you're going to look at Bobby Lashley, who's to be celebrated for a lot of different reasons, and then you look at Kenny Omega. Bobby Lashley's new; he's just getting here. A lot of people don't really recognize his TNA World Heavyweight Championship as a big deal because nobody really watched TNA at the time when he was doing it. I mean, it's not a knock on TNA, but it was a niche audience, right? But you have Roman Reigns that's just on fire right now. He's a commercial success, and he's the top dog as Universal Champion and his tribal chief character that he's developed and done so well in. But then you have Kenny Omega, the self-made guy, the guy that's kind of carving his own path. He's doing a lot of new things and a lot of stuff that we have not seen before. So which person would you rather have being your world champion? Rich Swann, because he works hard and he's a good guy and his opportunity, or Kenny Omega?
So what you're saying is
that's my bone to pick.
They need help, and they can use all the help they can get.
Yeah.
Well, you put it like that. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I admit. But like I said, I made the joke that he was killing the business. Do I think he's killing the business? No, you gotta.
That wasn't a joke. You had a serious face. There was no smirk or nothing.
I played off the Bucks. Your team. I played off their book, killing the business, which I would like to read it. I think anytime I enjoy professional wrestlers' books. Just their perspective, especially at the end of the day, they were fans first, so I always enjoy. I'm not like a big Young Bucks guy. I respect them for what they do.
I'm a big Young Bucks guy. You never were. You never liked Nick and Matt Jackson.
I didn't when they was in
you call them spot monkeys. You call them all types of names, and they were the hottest thing on the show.
It was,
and this is before the Young Bucks blew up as the Young Bucks. Like they were getting a little bit of buzz, and we know who they were. But
when ROH told them we don't have nothing for you.
Oh yeah, and they had the Dew Burns Arena, formerly known as
Rockin' fake Hardy Boys / Rockers, and I was just like, oh, these guys. But then they get in the ring, they came out that it was annoying, did what they were supposed to do as heels, and then they were so good. I said that. Shout out to Charlie Speed and E-Rock, Eric Shepard. I was saying like, man,
formerly known as the Podcast of Pain, top 5 podcast theme songs of all time.
Oh heck yeah, it's Podcast of Pain time. Time to bring
mine.
But I even said like, okay, I understand that, but at the same time, they still annoyed me, and I didn't like them. But
that's their job. You're a classic wrestling fan. Why don't you understand it?
Sometimes you just gotta take wrestling what they give to you. Sometimes if you're not supposed to like a heel, don't like the heel. But like I said, I respect what they did. So I was playing off of that. But I'm interested to see it. I listen to your perspective, and that's what the beauty of having a dialogue and a conversation.
Stop throwing shots. I'm here now. Like we're doing. That's the beauty of having a conversation and a dialogue. We're having a conversation.
I almost said the wrong word.
You must be really lonely because this is ridiculous, right?
Cats get mad when they say, "Oh, you don't agree with me? You stupid." I'm like, dude, it's just wrestling. It's
really not that serious. Like, it's just wrestling, buddy.
Yeah, so. But so that's your bone to pick. I don't have no bones this week to pick, but I'm pretty sure I will.
You don't have a bone to pick with that finish at AEW, whatever it was. What was it? What was the name of pay-per-view? Revolution?
We was gonna get into that, but before we got into that, I wanted you to pick a throwback moment. I wanted you to travel down in time to something that maybe you taking a look at this week. You already told us what you was watching. I already went down my time travel. Have you gone down a time travel this week and looked at some old wrestling?
Yes, I did. And ironically, it was TNA wrestling. Mm-hmm. I went back and I looked at it was a tag match between Sting and Christian Cage versus Jeff Jarrett and the alpha male Monty Brown. I believe the year was, I want to say 2005 or 6. I really don't remember. I don't remember the actual date, but
went there in 05, right?
Yes, I believe he did. It was
6.
It might have been 06 because he was on the WWE game, had a PSP game he was on, It might have been 06. It was 06 because I don't know. I just remember it was somewhere between high school and college because not too long after that, I remember I was in school when Kurt Angle debuted. Kurt Angle debuted not too long after that. And that was got to be 06, 07-ish. Honestly, I don't remember. But it was anywhere between 2005 and 2006. I don't know. We can look it up. Can we do that now? Like, that's the thing. Who knows?
Yeah, not standing in the studio.
No, yeah, like that's the beauty of it. But you can
2003, he signed the contract. 1 year anniversary.
what?
Yeah, 2004 was interviewed. One night only. All right, 2005. That's when he really showed up. December 2005.
Okay. So
Oh, the match talking about
yeah.
Final Resolution 2006.
There you go. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Sting and Christian Cage defeating Jeff Jarrett and Monty Brown.
Yes, indeed. I went back like that was an era that I'm still a huge TNA fan of, but it was an exciting era for professional wrestling when you look at it because that was kind of around the time I really started getting into it super heavy again. Like I was deep into it. You know, TNA was it was young, it was exciting. I wasn't a diehard TNA fan, but I was happy to see guys like Sting. I was happy to see guys like Christian get an opportunity. And of course, you know, with Christian showing up in AEW now, I'm just like, well, let me go back and see. You know, it kind of makes you nostalgic about, okay, well, I was happy to see Christian back in WWE, but then to see Christian Cage show up in 2021, it's like, oh boy. But you know, it's worth taking a look back, and TNA was so small and intimate. It was fun. It was exciting. You know, always over the top and a little corny, and it never really worked out. But you can go back and enjoy it now for what it is. So that was my moment back. What year was that? 2006.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you remember about 2006 in particular during that time? So what date was that pay-per-view you said?
What was this? Well, this is January 15th.
Okay, so what was going on with Brian H? Probably still known as Primetime B-Dub. Put your business all in the street.
Oh, well, that was way before that. I wasn't even B-Dub yet.
Okay, well,
2006.
Because I know you're a WWE guy. So what were you watching?
That's the time, if I'm not mistaken, when Edge cashed in his Money in the Bank.
I believe so. Yeah, that was a big deal because everybody's like, "What? Edge a world champion?"
Yeah, because
New Year's Revolution, right?
Yeah,
New Year's Evolution.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the first New Year's Revolution. I did not have a job at the time, right?
Wow, just putting all your business in the streets.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I would get a job the next month, but I didn't have a job at the time. So at that time, I had like my own cable box, but I had, enough money to pay for the bill. But I stopped ordering all the pay-per-views. Every time I would always order, like as soon as I got I had like a huge deal, man. I mean, $40 because we had Comcast in the house. So because we had satellite. So they was like, all right, well, so, it's kind of like a competitor's deal. So me and my sister had like.
Did it go out when it rained?
Not my Comcast, but the satellite did.
That's what I was talking about. New satellite.
Yeah, man. I remember the ice storm in 2010. We was without cable for about 10 days.
Oh, no.
During the blizzard. But yeah, so I didn't order this pay-per-view because I was like, man, I don't need to be splurging, this, that, and the other. And shout out to my boy B Harley, B Ryan. He ended up telling me like the results and whatnot. And now I was shocked. And we all know what happened on Raw that Monday night.
Shout out to all the friends that look out for the guys that didn't have TV or pay-per-view or access to that kind of stuff back in those days. We didn't have social media or cell phones weren't that advanced.
Did you know somebody with the black box?
I might have, but I don't think I want to disclose their information because I don't want them to get them locked up by the FBI or something like that.
I knew somebody, and that person was my go-to phone call Monday after pay-per-view. Who won last night? But yeah, that's what I was doing, man. I looked at TNA here and there a little bit.
Don't lie. No, you didn't. What channel did it come on?
Spike.
No, before Spike. What channel did it come on before Spike?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, because you're telling a story.
Wait,
you said who?
Before Spike TV was pay-per-view.
No, it's listen to me. It was, but still, it was like it was on something else before Spike though. It was on Fox Sports Net.
Oh, see, I ain't watch it then. I ain't have Fox Sports Net.
And you didn't watch it then either in 2006. Stop telling stories.
No, I did here and there.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
But so before we get out of here, let's get into the main event of the show because I need to hear from you, buddy.
Okay, sure. What do you need to hear? All right.
AEW, the moment we've all waited for a few weeks.
Can I use this to just like
the exploding ring match? What did the realness think about this one?
Whole thing sucked. It's like shout out to the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. Oh boy. In the group chat, you know, we all have conflicting opinions at times. We don't always see eye to eye, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, you need group text. Like you need group text to make sure that you are never lonely. Had to fix it. Had to fix the camera on this one.
I'm gonna tweet that. That's a good one.
If somebody makes money off of it, please tell me.
And you know what? You said you need group chat. I'm gonna tweet it from Wrestling Wrealm right there. It's on your screen. Wrestling Wrealm.
You do. Look. Oh Lord, I done hit my light. My light messed up. Hold
on. So while he talks about this, you know, AEW had a pay-per-view, and during the pay-per-view, we saw that they had an exploding ring match, and during that exploding ring, the ring didn't explode. There was sparklers, and you know, I'm not gonna be disrespectful and jump into Tony Khan's $1 million budget.
No, that $1 billion that exploding ring was disrespectful.
But you know, I don't know if you saw this week. He shut down or he flagged all the YouTube videos, and you had people upset. This girl on cinema, she had the videos on there or whatever, and she said, "Oh, Tony Khan, you messing up my money." And he was like, "Oh, you know, Tony Khan will clap back on Twitter," and he basically said, "Well, I budgeted millions of dollars for those videos, you know, and you just want to steal them." Hey, as a content creator, I might not like a lot of things he may say or do, but I fully agree with that. Look, because I'm tired of these people getting away with posting videos of wrestling, but when I do it in a fair usage,
yeah, what is that about? We keep on getting flagged with stuff.
Exactly, that's why we stopped doing it.
That's bogus. Yeah, we couldn't put videos of nothing, and I was like, "This
Yeah, but the other people can, and they don't get in trouble.
It's not fair.
Now it's your turn because that's the only props we give Con on this one because he ain't getting let off the hook.
Okay, so you had them kind of. They made the announcement, which made me say, okay, one, everybody thought the same thing. This is a concept that's kind of outdated. It's not something you really saw in the States. It's something that was perfected and known for in Japan, the Japanese death matches. You know what I mean? We've seen guys like Cactus Jack and Terry Funk participate in quite a few of these. They even went out of their way. Now don't get me wrong. I understand the correlation. I understand, you know, with Kenny Omega's past, where he, you know, kind of cut his teeth in New Japan, which is what he made his name and everything like that. But man, I'm like, yo, you don't see these type of exploding death matches in the States too much, if ever. But you know, as wrestling fans, we were exposed. I can't speak for nobody else, but I know I was exposed to them. If you look up Japanese wrestling of yesteryear, because that's why if you see footage of exploding death matches, it's kind of old footage. So the fact that I said, okay, there's going to be some sort of gimmick to this. I mean, you know, I don't really know what's going on or what the idea is, but so the match comes around, it builds to it. The crazy part is the match was actually wasn't bad for what it needed to be, you know, as far as COVID era professional wrestling. And what they gave us, they told a decent story and they had pretty good spots, and it seemed like it was effective enough and it was safe enough, but you know, it still got its point across. Like I said, even doing promos and getting Japanese legends to kind of talk about the importance of the Japanese death match and the exploding, you know, C4 matches and stuff of the past. And I know they were going to try to get him, you know, the rumor said that they were trying to have him have a seat, you know, kind of ringside to kind of honor him. And, you know, somebody that kind of was known for these type of matches, you know, in Japan of yesteryear. But like, how are they going to pull this off now? See the match. Actually did okay. It wasn't as intense. I've seen barbed wire match is more intense than that. I've seen Abyss and Sabu have more intense barbed wire matches in TNA where literally there was no ropes. It was all like barbed wire on six. You talking six sides, or the six-sided ring. It was literally barbed wire all the way across the ropes. I mean, if you watch the TNA's Best of the Bloodiest Brawls Volume 1, it should be on there. It's interesting. That was more deadly than this match that I saw at AEW. And then you come to the finish, and my guys, my favorite tag team in the business right now, the Good Brothers come out there, of course, for the assist, Kenny Omega. They tie him up. They get out of there because all of a sudden there's this huge alarm going off, and they get out of the ring. Like at that point, I was caught off guard. Even when I went back and watched the clip, because I didn't watch it live, but I had to watch it back. When it happened, I got excited because I was like, "Oh shoot!" This alarm came out of nowhere, and I was like, "Okay, you got me. I'm hooked. I'm excited." They run out of there, and then here comes Eddie Kingston. He's pushing those guys around, and they did it so well. The performers showed up because they sold it in a way where it was like they didn't have time to fight each other. We just got to get out of here. So Kingston wants to get into it with those guys, but he's like, man, Mox is in the ring, handcuffed. He can't move. He runs in the ring. He's trying to do something. So all he does is cover him, and literally Party City sparklers go flying off on the side of the ring. And then you hear like a boom, boom on the outside. And then Eddie Kingston's just sitting there laying, covering up Moxley. Nothing happened to Nothing happened to Nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to the ring. Like, okay, time out. That was just dismal. Like, so you got your dad's money, just like Dixie Carter did. You got all these billions of dollars. You talking about this wrestling, that, and that's the best you guys can. I don't know what the situation was. I don't know if that's all they had. Like, I read something. Somebody said, well, it worked in the rehearsal. It looked cool. It didn't work now. I'm like, you could have rigged the ring. Like, you could have called a special effects somebody coming there. When Big Show and Brock Lesnar went through the ring and imploded. When Mark Henry and Big Show went through, when Braun Strowman and was it Braun Strowman and Big Show, or was it Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar?
Man,
don't know. When Braun Strowman did it, they when the ring imploded, rigged or not, it was a special moment. It caught you off guard. You kind of knew what was going to happen, and it delivered. It was a statement. Boom, over, done with, and now that's your cooler talk for the next morning. That's your conversation piece. This one had the wrong conversation to go along with it because sparklers went off on the side. It was Gilbert. It was Gilbert's entrance. Like I thought Gilbert was going to come out there. It just had it is just, and Eddie Kingston sitting there like he's dead, and nothing happened. It was a couple booms on the outside, and I was like, "Oh, that's terrible." And one thing that always stuck with me was Bully Ray from the Busted Open Radio. Literally said they only remember the finish, end quote. Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of fans get on Vince McMahon for what he doesn't know, but Vince clearly knows a lot. He is, he's seen everything, and whether you love him, hate him, agree with him or not, that's neither here nor there. That's not what this conversation necessarily is about, but the guy knows what he's talking about. And what he's saying is true because such a good match or solid match, whatever it's supposed to be, only thing we talked about was how bad that finish was. It was almost comical. And it's almost funny now watching them try to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
You got Tony Khan on one hand going publicly saying, "Oh well, yeah, what'd you guys expect? The ones that really blows people up in the ring is like, no, don't try to kill kayfabe now." And then now you got those guys trying to use it as a storyline where they're kind of poking fun at Kingston, like, "Oh, you really thought the ring was going to blow up? Like, you look pathetic. We were trying to humiliate you guys. That's what we were trying to do." And it's like, no, you guys got caught with your pants down. I wouldn't mind it as much if AEW didn't swear that they were the greatest wrestling promotion in the world and they were going to be the future of the business. I get it and all, but come on, man. You got big shoes to fill. You're like 70 years behind.
Let me ask you this.
Yep.
You see them kind of cover it up now. If they were quicker on their feet to think, right? Let's paint this picture here.
Sure. Yep.
Eddie Kingston runs out there. He goes over and he lays on John Moxley. And then after he lays on John Moxley, boom, the explosion doesn't happen, but the sprinkles go off. Then all of a sudden, you hear laughter, right? And it's Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers coming out there saying, "Ha, ha, 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 ha. We just wanted to humiliate you. Look, you just came out here, this is that and the other, and this is what could happen. Mess with me again, and I'll make it explode for real or something." Could that have saved them from the humiliation if he would have made it not seem like a botch, if he was quicker to think on his feet?
Brian H. Waters, they owe you a paycheck. because you could have just solved almost 88% of their problems.
I mean, you look at a lot of things and we will compare it to WWE in this sense, but you know, a lot of times, I mean, we mentioned this in the first season.
Mhm.
There was a time when Vicky Guerrero was getting so much heat.
Good
And
Lord. First season, 10 years ago.
Yeah. How about that? And what did John Cena do? He said, "Hey, just go with it," you know. Just I mean, that's something like John Cena and them think on their feet, you know. And I don't think they would have ran all the way to the back after that happened. But even if they would have did it and just stayed like near Gorilla just to make sure, because clearly they knew what was supposed to happen. Just thinking on your feet real fast.
Pathetic. It's terrible. Like like they owe tell listen, I meant that send your information to their marketing or their accounting department. They owe you some money because it would have made sense. And even if now, of course, we'll be Monday morning quarterbacks, of course, hindsight being 2020, sure.
Right.
But the reality is that's the truth, though. Like they could have easily played it off that way because one, Kenny is a jokester. He's not always to be taken seriously, and neither are the Good Brothers. They're not like vicious heels where they're like the Dark Order kind of tried to be at first, but then they came they're more entertaining as a kind of a metaphoric comedy act.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That was just between their presentation at first and then their presentation when God rest his soul, Brody Lee kind of became a part of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you took your time, taped it, and then put it on YouTube afterwards and say, "Oh, this is what happened after pay-per-view went off." You know what I mean? You could have, like say you ran out of time, it goes off, nothing happens, pay-per-view goes off, and you have time, like, well, shoot, we gotta go back out there, do exactly what you just said, literally laugh, point, stare, have him look like a fool, go off, and then kind of get out of there real quick. So that way, to me, it's some sort of explanation.
Yeah,
so
the first thing that happened was, I mean, granted, they have fans in there, so we gotta look at it for this. Fans gonna record everything and upload stuff to social media. But as soon as that happened, what does Moxley do? He gets on the mic. Kenny can't build an exploding ring for this, that, and the other. And they kind of make fun of
he's
it.
always trying to be cool.
Bingo.
Like it's like stop, dude. Like stop trying to like you're better. Gotta cut a promo because I'm John Moxley. Omega. Yeah. You're a hell of a fighter, but you can't build a ring for like, dude. Come on. But see that, but also, that's his WWE training kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, that was stupid. Didn't work out. Let me do something. I'm John Moxley. I'm used to being a loose cannon on the microphone. I'm used to saying whatever comes to my brain. Let me go ahead and do this now. Yeah. Which I respect him in all honesty because he did the right thing. I'm gonna tell you what killed it for me. Eddie Kingston acting like he died.
But a lot of people say Eddie deserves an award for that.
It's not Eddie Kingston's fault.
Exactly. So
it's not his fault. He did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah,
the show on, you make it happen. Eddie Kingston did everything he was supposed to do in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody should have said something to the referee or to the medic, like listen, get up, act like like you got to call an audible at some point. And I get it, but he was acting like he was dead, and nothing happened. He was just laid there. Here's how dumb it was. What happened to him? Somebody explain to me what happened to Eddie Kingston.
Well, Moxley poked fun of it.
Listen to me. Nothing happened to him, O'Brien. Like it's not like somebody hit him before he got to the ring. He just happened to stumble or he was feeling the effects of. He got into a scuffle before he tried to save. Like he got out of there. They looked at each other. They pushed and they shoved. Then he ran in the ring.
Yeah.
And then the sparkles went off. The sparkles went off, and he just sat there like he died. And then he rolled over. He's got the medics like really tense. He's in the ring like this, trying to get himself together. I'm like, bro, what happened to you? Did you have an anxiety attack? Like, what? Like, it's not to be made fun of, but are you okay?
Right.
Because I'm like,
sure, I forgot.
And then Moxley gets up and cuts a promo, and Eddie Kingston still in the ring acting like he's half dead. I'm like, what happened to you though? Nothing happened to. Like you weren't even near. Even if they rolled out of the ring by where the explosives were, and you couldn't see where they landed, and explosives went up.
Yeah,
that would have been even more like, okay, that's kind of like the spot where when Big E was on the outside and he was kind of left, and up, the camera pulled away from it, and Apollo dropped it where he was. Now I'm sure Big E moved out the way, but it was implied for television purposes because you're telling the story.
That when there's a Thunderdome.
I mean, sure. I mean, even it's not even about the Thunderdome. Like that's a camera angle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can do that because there's not fans right.
But think about it. The fans at ringside, Brian, are the wrestlers. The other fans are up there in the stands, like all the way up by on the field that way. Like those ringside people are wrestlers. They can play along. Kayfabe ain't dead.
Yeah,
because they tried to sell it themselves. The same way, when they had the shows at the Performance Center and the NXT guys.
Right there.
You said who?
On SmackDown, there was nobody there. It was just. Oh, I see.
No, I'm saying.
I got you.
You're saying like, oh, but they had fans that I'm like, they're not really fans. They were wrestlers.
At AEW, yeah.
And so like even it comes down to television production. Like even if you just switch to a different camera or a different angle, and he pulled him out of the ring and the explosion went up, you can't see what happened. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the camera's literally right there, hard camera, right in the middle of the ring, and sparklers went off, and a couple of explosions on the outside, and Eddie Kingston act like he died, and now him and Moxley are best friends because they respect each other. When
Eddie said, like, you took you a long time to come out there, though. I was giving him a bucket.
he called Eddie Kingston all types. Eddie Kingston called him all types of sellout. I think one of the best promos I've heard in a long time. Very heartfelt, very, very real, and and then he comes out there and he saves him. He goes on top of him.
He does, man.
He goes on top of him and nothing happens, and then he's acting like he died, like he got shot.
Yep.
Like Ricky, like a Boys in the Hood. He was laying there like the medics are trying to revive him. Like, what happened to you though?
Well, just to know, if you ever for some reason find yourself in an exploding ring match, I'm pulling you out. I ain't gonna jump on top of you.
Just like if that was you in that situation, I'd be like, Brian, this may not work. We got to figure something out just in case.
Yeah.
So if you work with somebody in an exploding death match, just know something might not go the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad nobody got their limbs blown off.
What?
Like I'm like, so you can I don't know. Like sometimes in my mind they're overzealous. They're willing to do things that you probably shouldn't do. So when I heard the idea of it, I said, I pray they don't do too much. And somebody flies in a rope and something blows off, you blow your limbs off. Like you can blow your arm off. That's what I was like, blow a finger off. It's dangerous.
Yeah, because like
the exploding death matches that I've seen, those rings were exploding. I was like, yeah, that's dangerous. But
man, I think that happened in CZW when they brought Onita over and it didn't do what it was supposed to do. But that's CZW for you anyway.
I know nothing of the such. I got nothing to do with that.
Consider yourself lucky.
Oh yeah, I do.
Oh man. All right. Well, this was fun. I'm glad we back for the first time 10 years. Man, what is it? Actually, if you really want to like talk turkey, 10 years ago around this time was around the time we was actually kind of like getting to like really know who each other was in the wrestling fan base. And that's when I knew you was cool. I was like, oh yeah, this guy, by this time, like we've already like we kind of quickly established ourselves as the guys in wrestling at Morgan State.
Yeah, that didn't take long either.
It didn't at all. It's like, oh yeah, we already know they're gonna work together. And yeah, I know y'all saw Raw.
Yeah.
Too bad somebody invited you to the WrestleMania 27 party that I had. Because I was like, oh yeah, let me see if Dwayne want to come. Was CJ Butter was there and a couple other people. But yeah, you had plans already.
It was on a Sunday, so most likely I did. I think I was with my nephews.
You already got invited to a party. Your nephews wasn't born yet, bro.
I don't know. I can't keep up. Like, why do you know that, but I don't know that? That's not good.
Yeah.
They weren't. Oh, snap.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. But I'm going to put this on the screen. Let the people know where they can find us at Brian H. Waters.
Wait a minute. Why'd you take those down in the first place?
Because there's no point leaving them up the whole time.
Are you kidding me? Like, what if somebody comes into it late and they can't see where we're at? Like, what's that social media handles?
Live, then yeah. But by the time they watch it, they're going to start from the beginning.
Still, though, like, you don't know that. They need to see. They need to see where to find me. Like, hold on. Wait. There it is. There it is. I got it.
Look, even though, so just to show you, I had these like ready for a long time. So in case we do that, boom, those kind of look better anyway. And then, I'll go full screen, boom. I mean, you seen them before when we did the show with the Flex Zone. So But yeah, Wrestling Realm now is here and here to stay, folks. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so. Make sure you also buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Wrestling Realm. But you know, if you're on Apple Podcasts, give us that 5-star rating. And then when you give us that 5-star rating, drop something in the comments. We'll give you a shout out. Let us know because Apple don't notify you when people comment on your podcast. And I'm not like super egotistical where I go check every single day. So just to kind of let y'all know.
Still have a
But
couple
yeah,
of announcements.
oh yeah, we'll get there. And since he's rushing it, yeah, that's all I gotta say. So Dwayne, let them know what the announcements are.
Why do you say it like that? Like it's my announcement. These is monumental things. What do
Hey,
you
they've
mean?
been
Like
hearing my voice for the past 2.5 years, 3 years.
it'd be okay. This is the 10th anniversary. We got a lot of things coming. We have a
Mhm.
lot of things coming. I know I've been missing in action for a while, but that's because we've been working on a lot of things behind the scenes to try to take the Wrestling Wrealm as a brand to a completely different level. So that you guys can expect quite a few things. Quite a few things. Apparently, Brian H wants to produce a short documentary on me, so
Yep.
that should be interesting. I will be answering a lot of questions about myself and
You in a hot seat, buddy.
what I do, and kind of how we all came about here, as well as my new show. That's right.
And then I'm retiring from documentaries.
You said who?
I'm retiring from documentaries.
Nah, you're definitely not retiring because we got like 3 in the works.
Yeah,
So,
you produce those.
oh yeah, I mean, what? Hey, why not?
Show up and
Yeah,
shoot bubble gum.
yeah, I bet, yeah, no doubt. But yeah, we have my new show coming up called Realness Reacts. Now, what was supposed to happen was my clip was supposed to be like right there, and I hit the button, and it was supposed to pop up, but we had some technical difficulties. So maybe on the next time I'll re-announce it, and then I'll put it down there. So when I say my new show, Realness Reacts, the thing will actually pop up. Oh yeah, but yeah, you can look forward to that. Where I take the time to kind of give my own personal thoughts because Brian's got his own show. He could say what he wanted his, so now I can say what I want on mine. It's like no, but it's just a chance for me to kind of just react to a lot of different things in the world of professional wrestling, like I usually did. Kind of break down the history of where it came from, where I wanted to go, just to kind of stay current and up to date with what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, kind of stay engaged with the rest of the fans as well. We also are going to announce we are having a 1 hour long sit down interview with myself and Brian H. Waters to chronicle the last 10 years of the Wrestling Realm. We will finally open up and tell you guys a lot of things that we have not told people before. We will explain to you guys a lot of the things that we went through, the ups and the downs. And we have some explaining to do about a lot of different situations that we found ourselves in. And, I think this is something that people are going to want to hear. Oh, it did? Oh, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you anymore.
Let me see.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, you still there. My bad. That was on me.
Oh wow! So you just interrupted my whole situation because you had technical difficulties. So you just interrupted me. So you because you had technical difficulties.
Hey, that's my fault. I take that out. That's what happens. But it's cool. It's that's all. Blah, blah. It's all different when you record.
I should hit one of these. Like, yeah, look, it's right. So no. But yeah, we are going to have a sit down, 1 hour long, Oprah style interview. It's like no, it's we're gonna just celebrate. We're gonna go over a lot of the things. We're gonna chronicle our timeline, talk about the stuff we got into, some of the drama we got dealt in, and just all the ups and downs, all the highs, all the lows. Answer some real questions about where we've been and where we're trying to go. So I'm
Where
looking
you
forward to it.
been? Where you going? Where you coming back? Why you be gone? All that cool stuff.
Yep. So that's something to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen. So
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. As just kind of open, tear on the fourth wall. We're gonna sit down, have some drinks. That being like, I might even drink a Pepsi.
I'm more of a sparkling grape kind of guy.
Oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, have some drinks, have some Skittles, and you know what? They got these new Skittle gummies. Shout out to Mo Eaton. I saw he posted it. I need to find them. But yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. So, yep, this is what, episode 1?
Yeah.
This count? Okay. So this is
Yeah.
kind of like the pilot. This is the test run, but of course we'll get better and
Man,
we'll
we're gonna
keep
put this
improving.
out.
Well,
This is too
no,
good.
it's good enough, definitely good enough to go out, but we're going to always build
Hey,
on
you
it.
the one that's always, making. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm a perfectionist, but sometimes being a perfectionist can bite you in the tail. You miss out on things. So,
But let's get it popping, as my cousin Ash would say. Let's get it popping, B. You had to be there.
oh yeah, clearly that just happened.
You could have just said, "Let's get it popping," but no, you had to be cool.
Yeah, I just didn't know, like, there was no signal or no nothing. You could have
It
there's a
was-
little chat box thing where you could have said, "Hey, look, I'm about to say this quote." There's no communication, so
All right, Diesel. I always said, I talked to a good buddy of mine, Mr. Joe Walker, a couple years ago. He said, if if I could pick 2 wrestlers, who would we be? And ironically, I said Shawn Michaels and Diesel, 2 dudes with attitudes. Hey, that's my cue to go home. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this episode of the Wrestling Wrealm.
was that me?
Yeah, you hit that.
Oh man, go back. No, my fault. I didn't mean to do that. No, that was not a wrap up signal. I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to scroll down on the computer. Finish telling your story. Like, you can tell your goddamn story. This is like we can do whatever we want to do on here. Go ahead.
But yeah, so I said, shout out to Mr. Joe Walker. He did an interview with me a few years ago, and he said, we talked about the Wrestling Wrealm, and he said, if I could pick a tag team, who would we be? And I thought about it. I said 2 dudes with attitudes. I said, you got one guy who sit up there, don't mind yelling at the people, going back and forth. Then you got the other guy who's just too cool for school, who want to win championships, pay me my money, go home, get out of my face. That's the real Dwayne Allen.
Yeah, no doubt.
So both of us get the job done. Both of us Hall of Famers. We can literally both do any and everything. So you see, sometimes I might design stuff. Sometimes, most of the time, he designs stuff. Sometimes I might edit the show. Sometimes he edits the show. And that's what makes this podcast just too sweet. And we out, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And make sure you follow us at Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling Wrealm. And go to our Facebook at The Wrestling Wrealm.